Hello YouTube. For a while now I've been wanting to do a video on how to defend oneself against a dog attack. Dogs are everywhere. And the last statistic that I heard was that there were 7 dogs for every person. That's a lot of dogs, you know. So you have to understand how many dogs there are actually out there. So because of that, you have to understand that it's very possible that you could be in a situation where you have to defend yourself against a dog attack. For a year and a half, one of my many jobs that I've had, I was an animal control officer. When you're in that type of a job, you deal with wild animals and domesticated animals and every other animal in between all the time. I mean, I could sit here and tell you all kinds of stories, but the fact of the matter is that on more than a few occasions I've dealt with all types of dogs, from Chihuahuas to Pit Bulls to Newfoundlands to whatever. There's been more than a couple of times that I've been surrounded by Pit Bulls. And I've had to deal with that. Now, there's something else that I have to put out here that's kind of a personal pet peeve of mine, and it's this: people love to pick on a breed. And really, honestly, if we look through the decades, it's always a different breed for a different time. Here recently, it's been the Pit Bull. It's been the bad breed or the bad dog. Understand that it's really not so much the breed. It's honestly the owners. If you have a dog and you leave it chained up outside your house 24/7, and you don't feed it and you don't water it and you just leave it out there by itself, don't teach it anything and don't try to interact with your animals at all, and some little neighborhood kid comes by walking through your yard, you know, you have to understand from the dog's point of view. You know, maybe it'll be just fine, and maybe, you know, maybe not, you know. But if you don't teach your dog anything, and if you don't interact with your animal, and don't treat it like it's and don't treat your animal like it's a part of your family, you get what you get, you know. Bottom line, the end of that argument for me is, if you are an owner of a dog or of an animal, take care of it. That's simple. You've taken that responsibility on. Do what you gotta do. Okay, enough of that. Okay, so understand that the best thing that you can do to defend yourself is, aside from an owner taking care of his animal or her animal, so that so that you don't be attacked in the first place, is what you carry with you. If you try to kick a dog in the head like in Resident Evil, okay, all you're doing is you're giving that dog your leg to chew on. Inside your leg, there is the femoral artery. You see a problem here? Okay, so yeah, don't try to kick a dog in the head. Next thing, don't try to punch a dog in the head. Once again, Resident Evil. The dog's head is pretty hard. As hard, if not harder, than your fist, even if you've conditioned it. So, punching a dog, not so much. Oh, I know, let's go ahead and try to choke the dog. No, that's not really going to work either. Just plain and simple, because you're trying to wrap your arm, which to the dog at this point is a big old hunk of meat, and you're trying to bring it closer to its mouth. See a problem here? Yeah, not going to work. Or it's not, at least not going to end well. Now, I would recommend, you know, understand that you have to do what you have to do. I'm not saying that you don't, but you know, it's usually best to have something on you so that you don't have to resort to something like that, which is just as much risk for you as it is the animal. The best and the most humane thing that you can have on your person to defend against a dog attack is pepper spray. I am a huge advocate of pepper spray for an animal attack. Point being, a dog is all nose. If you put some type of an irritant into that nose, it will notice. And when it notices, it will back away from you because it doesn't want more of what it just got hit with. Okay? So that's part of it. The other two things that you can have on you is a bite stick or a short stick. A bite stick is pretty much any type of a stick that's 2.5 to 3 foot long. Or a long stick. A long stick is pretty much 4.5, 5, 6 foot, somewhere in there. Understand that to a dog interprets the length of a stick as increased power. So a dog will see a 3-foot stick and say, oh, this is power X. Well, when he sees a 6-foot stick, he says, oh, that's the power of X times 2. So that's just the way the dog's mind works. So understand that. Understand also that a lot of the time dogs very quickly will assemble packs. So understand that if you're being attacked by one, it's very likely that there could be a second or a third just waiting for the right time to zoom in. So be ready for that. Just real quickly on how to handle and how to understand dog speak, if you will. If a dog is barking and running towards you, it may be a happy bark, but if you're on its property, it's probably not a happy bark. Now usually that's something that they're just trying to scare you off, so back away, you know, use some common sense here. If they're running at you at a dead run and there's either no noise coming from the dog or a growl coming from the dog, that dog is trying to kill you. It's only thinking about killing you. So that is the one that you really got to watch out for, and that's the one that you have to deal with, and you have to deal with it now, because otherwise it will take you down and it will kill you, or at least try to. And I've seen things to that effect. So that's the one that you have to deal with. So anyway, we'll get started on how to use a bite stick and how to use a long stick to your advantage. Okay guys, I'm going to keep this short, sweet, and to the point. I'm pretty much running pretty long on time, so I apologize for that. Basically the idea is to have, once again, bite stick being 2 to 3 feet in length. Honestly, I would carry a small stick with you. Just grab a branch if that's all you have. But just have something like this if you don't have pepper spray, so that you can just very quickly, as a dog's coming up to try to bite you, just stick it down straight into his throat. Basically, as that dog is coming towards you, you just stick it in his face, and you try to, as that dog's mouth is opening, you try to just pretty much jam it straight into his gullet, and that'll be a deterrent. So, you know, that's how you use a bite stick. Hi guys. So in this one, we're going to go over the long stick. You have to understand that you're going to want to have your left hand up near the top of your stick. This is not bojutsu, okay? So understand that having your hands near the center of the stick is not going to help you. Primarily because he's not going to be coming up in this area. All your attacks and everything that you're going to be worried about is pretty much from your knee level and down, okay? He may get a chance to get to your hips, but most of the time, you know, if the dog's head is here, it's a big dog, okay? So you're really going to have to adjust your height accordingly. But primarily, you're going to want to be in this type of a low understanding of an area. Okay? So, you're going to have to understand that you're going to want to have your left hand or your weak hand up near the top. This is going to be your default stance. And you're going to want to have it in a palms up formation. And your right hand or your strong hand is going to be palms down. And you're going to want to have your right hand somewhere near the middle of your stick. And your left hand something like this. Okay? So, you see how I've got it like this. Right? Now this first half of my stick is what I'm going to be using to strike at the dog. I can do a poke, I can do a swing here, and I can do a backhand. This is pretty much all you're going to need to do with this. Basically, you're going to keep it simple. When the dog comes at you, you're going to whack him. It's that simple. If he comes straight at you, maybe you want to poke him. Maybe you want to switch your hand and poke him this way. Either way, you want to try to poke and then split, okay? So, just because I poked at the dog doesn't mean I can hit him. Sometimes the dog will move his head and, oops, okay, now I've got to use the stick to redirect the dog out of my path, out of my way, okay? So, the point is that you always want to have the stick in between you and the animal at all times. You want to be using the stick to basically create a circle of life for you, if you will. Anything that gets within this area, you want to be able to hit it, deflect it, move it out of your way, because you do not want that dog to start chewing on your femoral artery. That would be bad, okay? Something else. You have to understand that, if you're out in the open, as much as you've got to watch this front area, you've also got to watch your backside. Because it's a very common tactic with everything that hunts, is to get something to be focused on this front area and then have somebody come from behind and attack the backside. So, you have to be very aware of your situation. If I'm dealing with the dog up here, and there's something coming from back here, I'm going to have to smack that dog and redirect here. Or smack him and then come back around. You know what I mean? A lot of the time what you're going to want to do is you want to get somewhere, somehow. You're going to want to use a vehicle, you're going to want to use a wall, you're going to want to use some type of a building somewhere so that you can protect your backside. The first priority that you're going to be, if you're caught out in the open, if there's more than one dog, is you're going to want to get somewhere where there is something for you to put your back up against, okay? So that you now have cut your possibilities of being attacked from 360 degrees to 180 or even less. So that's pretty much what you're going to want to use. And pretty much the idea is, as long as you are attacking, or as long as the dog is attacking you, you're defending. That's what you're doing. Now, generally, when you hit a dog with a long stick or something like that, generally they back away. You hit them, and they're like, you know what? This is a tough target. This guy actually knows what he's kind of doing, or at least enough that I don't want to mess with him anymore. And so they'll run off and go for something easier. So it's not like, in general, they're going to keep on attacking you. Now, if you are on their property, or in their mind, their property, yeah, they're not going to stop until you're off their property. So you have to understand that. But that's pretty much it. That's how we defend ourselves using a long stick. So I hope this has helped you. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your time. Defend your homes wisely.